Memoirs of a Haunted Hmong Girl by Moon Bang. I anticipated this book to be my first book review on my old channel, and it wasn't, but it's here. Now, this footage that I'm going to be showing later on has been sitting in my computer camera roll for like the past 3 or so years, so I can't say that I completely agree with what I said in that video. I will still show the footage and provide commentary. I turned the video into a podcast so that way people can just listen to it, but it was also because the camera quality was really bad. Someone does comment about their experience regarding like a dragon entity. Whether or not you believe in it, I do advise that you guys just listen with an open mind and then compare it to the narrative that Moon Bang is trying to sell. Because I do want you to realize that Moon advertises the story to be real, even though she narrates in YuShen's perspective, which is like not possible. We will not only be looking at our book review but a critique of Moon Bang. And also, if you see me keep on looking down, it's because I have notes that I'm looking at so I don't forget what I'm talking about. Some of the video is spoken in Hmong, so I will have a translation for that part. And if you guys are going to be listening to it as a podcast and you don't know both languages, then it's probably better to just watch it as video. So before I start the video, I just want to make some clarifications. And the first thing that I want to point out and clarify is that I do acknowledge that Hmong authors have the complete freedom to write a fantasy book. For example, Lori M. Lee, or Pave Gomez, who I do not acknowledge, and memoirs are written in memory of like a person or thing, and being that Moon is writing things that seem to be false, and being that Moon is writing in like different perspectives, you can't really prove that like she knew what the other people were thinking about. I also do want to acknowledge that maybe if she took memoirs away from her title, then maybe it could have been less controversial. But even so, I know that there are some shaman out there who say that like the contents of her work can't exactly be real. So in that sense, advertising her work as like truthful, whereas a memoir is like the base of the controversy. The second point that I want to make is that I feel as if there has been an outburst of authors who seem to be writing for like fame. Like, for example, like Pave Gomez blew up right after Moon Bang with like a book that didn't really seem to be edited. And then there's like, you know, the author of Lightlark. I don't think that it's a bad thing, but I do want to recognize that if you are writing just for the fame, you will get backlash. Because like people will bash bad books, even good ones, and it seems like an ongoing phenomenon these days with like the idea of like trendy books and like putting reading as a hobby very highly. I'll link a video so you guys can take a look at that. Another thing that I want to mention is that YuShen's character in the library and Moon's friends are like not a critique of the book, but more of like a rant. And the last thing that I want to mention is that I did genuinely like the romance in the book to some extent. Unfortunately, the other parts of the book just happened to be bad, and I think the book would have been a good fantasy romance. Okay, I'll start the video.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of controversies in this book, and I feel like the fans and Moon are kind of avoiding it.
They're in denial.
Yeah. Okay, I get it, but I like at the same time I feel like it's super misleading, and I don't think like
yeah,
drama yo khói lớn nhìn nó phong đó chứ là hạt tia đấy giờ nó xong đó chỉ cho tia thế ở trong nó họ xong Julie có muốn mua cái luôn họ chỉ cho trong chai à chứ nó xong đó chứ Julie nó hay có other people hạt tia nó mua tụi nó đâu ra chứ lời sợ tao ha đó họ nó chỉ muốn sao thì trong chai nó muốn sao thì romantic lên đó những trong đâu cái mình xí luôn lên đó chứ mua tiền sợ là chỉ sợ thì ở trong là họ chỉ mua tụi ha tia là hai đó chứ là tia mà tôi chỉ yo xí lúc này tia mà trong chai nó xong đó chứ nó giống như là nó có people sao mỗi tụi nó đâu ra
yeah, and
thế
like
thằng nó xong lên đó
ngắn
Nếu sau á thì nếu tôi suy tôi này rất sau ha chỉ thằng nếu sau thì có nhìn như thế có họ nó nhìn tới có sau ở chưa cái họ nó nhìn đó chỉ có một nhìn phong tới cái bao tiền nếu rất sau đó
Yeah, like 你只出这
thế nếu tôi rất sau đó tôi nó họ dùng một chắc kiểu luôn
and then like kind of criticize like she needs work on this and this and then
đó họ
she
có vô cái
got
phong
mad.
đó nó trâu chỗ đó
Yeah.
họ có vô online á chỉ tôi nên cầu chỉ đó
So 你把海底那个了 argue. Then 你好 like
thì
page
nếu mà
and
nếu mà
like
cho
海底
fan
like
nếu mà cho fan thì
Yeah.
nếu hay còn nếu cho fan
lo
lo ba nữa
like yeah and
ba
then
nữa
yeah
đó
I
là
think
argue á nếu có nhìn tới cái bó thì thấy phong đó nếu có một cái chỉ chia tờ personal bộ
it's only like $12 like $20 like 15
thôi kỳ chấp lại
16
thôi thì tiêu hồi do like cầu chi nên cầu đua sao
and if you like watch like actual other like self-publishers their books are only like $18 too. Like with shipping
Not
maybe like $22
$65
not 65.
chứ thôi people hay nữa tiền thì sao xong tờ chứ nó không có được chế đâu cho nó nó thu nó phong tờ
Yeah, because she's like, you bought the next and then it's like people like,
thế thằng nó sau thằng là hai nữa là tiền rất sau giờ tiền nó muốn uống bê cho tiền memoirs nó mà memoirs tiền mua chủ sĩ thì tiền thì thằng nó nhìn ở cho là họ nhìn nó chính cái là tiền tiền nó happen chỉ to chỉ là hai nó là tiền nó cho character nó rất sau tiền nó rất bia chỉ là hai nó là tiền they're attacking her. But they're saying they're not attacking her, they're attacking the book. She's taking it too personally when she's saying they're attacking her. But they're not, they're just saying...
We're just confused. like we don't know what's going on.
You know? Like if you're a writer, you have to take criticism. And then your writer, they spend years on their book before they publish it.
Yeah,
because
for real.
you have to get people to read, to edit. But Nupona, she did not edit at all.
Yeah.
So they're just saying that she's a terrible writer, like, but that's not. They're not attacking her, you know.
She has room to grow, but like I feel like she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Like she's just
She's
like I just want to
saying
be famous.
She's her first draft is perfect.
Yeah, her first draft is perfect.
Oh my god, your first draft is always the worst. I'm a writer, and I thought my first draft was perfect until I realized it is extremely cringy. Even okay, do you know how many times I edited my story? I edited the entire book, okay, not just like little things. I edited the entire book 7 times, and I'm still editing.
Yeah, and I still gotta edit.
Yeah. And it is still not good enough. If you do not edit, you are not an
I feel
author.
like she should decide for herself if she wants to be an author or if she wants to be famous. Because there's a huge difference. And like that's kind of like disrespectful to other Hmong authors.
Yes, to
who are
real
actually
authors.
writing good stories, but they're not getting recognized for it.
Yeah.
So like if you want to recognize a Hmong author, recognize good ones who actually spent time on their work. She said that she was a shaman in the story too.
No.
Yes, she did.
No, I'm saying.
Oh no. Yeah, she said she was a shaman in the story too.
Nếu như một con này. Nếu mà show high tower, thì ôn drama rồi. Chỉ có tiếng. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
The same one, no?
Oh my god.
Dude, my goosebumps. Yeah, look, the key cameras here. My goosebumps.
좀 차이 수업 좀 저도 더 저 또 넣어 이거 자자 좀 저러리 뭐 이거 아 이거 또 내 자 뭐 내게 또 내가 보쇼 그런 좀 거리 뭐 아니 좀 다시 한번 그나요.
Oh my god.
근데 지리 차차차차 근데 지리 저 học nếu con đánh nhau
Mm-hmm.
thì theo của chị với cho đánh nhau thì cỡ cho xe lô thì cỡ hỗ trợ của chị phúc cũng trả xe cái chị phúc cũng trả xe rồi thế em cũng nhà mặt tiền được cũng thế cũng cũng trả có một số khổ đầu rồi nữa thì bữa thì liên bảo ôi than anh để giá cho cũng ta rồi thì rồi ta cho người ta thì thế đi cho xe thì thế đi là dùng để nó phải chuyển mua rồi chứ chuyển mua anh phải nói thì cả cái tiền không có đi vận tải chuyển mua
Oh, that's good.
yeah scary
Yeah, dude. Cứ biểu có sức cứ sợ bóc cái ta tụi nó.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's scary. It is not something to be romanticized about.
For real.
Yeah.
Like
Something wrong with her friends.
yeah, for real.
I get it that you can be a supporter, but you can't be blindly supporting someone.
Like maybe like just for her, she still miss her dragon
Ooh.
boyfriend.
Why do you keep doing that?
But like for other people, it's not the same. So like you can't just read one book and think that it's gonna be happy for everyone. Beginning?
Yeah.
Okay, chapter 11. YuShen stood excitedly at the edge of the forest, looking out into the vast open field before him, bordered by thick misty fog. The high slits of his dark green robe floated with the soft breeze, tapping onto the leather black boots hidden beneath the dancing fabric. He wore his best garment today to await his bride. He couldn't believe the day was finally here. He had awaited 8 years, and he had prepared everything for her just like she had always dreamed of. She would be happy here with him. After all, he was
With his many wives.
Yeah. After all, he was going to be different. They're going to be different. Their story would not end like all the others before him. Theirs were going to be different because their story was rooted in love, not possession.
Realistically, if so, I know that a few times maybe they become successful where they've taken someone from the real world and that person passed away. You know, like it a few times it would have happened, but it's not.
Oh, what?
It's not. She makes it sound like God is stopping them from being together. Like it's the relationship that can't be together. You know? Where it's happened in the past, and you've heard many stories about that before.
Last paragraph of page 84. In my culture, we have always believed that spirits from the spirit realm and humans can cross over and communicate with one another. I began
Wait, she's
trying
saying
to
that?
explain, yeah.
But at the
So he's
same-
not Hmong, but is he Chinese then? We know nothing about him.
And the way she described that, okay, it's in dialogue, but it's so formally described.
We seek healing and guidance from our ancestors and spirits. We believe that the chosen individuals are guided by higher powers to ensure that even in this connection, there is balance between the two realms. Part of this balance requires that no two individuals from different realms are allowed to fall in love or become infatuated with another and desire to be together. I clear my throat as feelings from the past come rushing back.
What
I
feelings?
guess you can say that's exactly what we were through, the prince and I. Our relationship is part of this forbidden bond. We were just kids when we met, but we are oblivious to such restrictions. We didn't see differences from one another. So tell me, how can something so innocent be a bad memory?
Wait, what's she
That
trying
made
to say?
me want to puke. What I wrote down was, why is Minnie talking so formal? She's not a textbook. If you have to edit dialogue over and over, or until it's at this point, you don't know your character well enough. You should not have to edit dialogue unless it's actually so terrible, like this.
First of all, no one in real life, girls, a fan of girls, don't just come up to you and like push each other. It's like, oh my god, go get his number. He's like,
No, that's
but he,
fucking Chinese drama shit.
I know, but like it,
We're starting to glitch now because it's so bad.
what is he trying to prove? That he can get other girls?
Because like I feel like it's so fake.
the significance is that like when like he was following her, this guy asked for a number and he got jealous. He was not mad that the guy harassed her. He was jealous.
Yeah.
At the library.
He's mad at her and not at the guy.
For real. Like, and it goes against what the fucking title is. It's not a memoir. Like, I'm still pissed at that. Like, it's so misleading. Like, you went from A's perspective to third perspective, bitch. We should talk about the pictures at the end.
Which one?
The bad ones.
Which ones? Like that one?
No, that one's okay. It was the one that was like of the dragon that was really funny. That one was fine. It was the one of
Let me show you guys.
what the fuck?
Look at his
Look
mouth.
at this. Look at his face.
Look at the dragon's
Oh my
snout.
god, they did it wrong.
So they were battling because
Did YuShen get possessed?
yeah, so he got possessed.
Yeah.
That's why they were battling.
I don't even have anything to say about the end. It just feels, really boring.
This is what I want to say about the ending. So I feel like the book is a build-up to the climatics, which is their big punishment, and the ending. But their big punishment, he got thunderstruck, right? So the big punishment, he got thunderstruck, and then eventually she sees the shaman that's trying to get her back, and then the shaman takes her to a place, and she says that she's gonna go through that place and see the most
Scariest shit.
terrible things that she
Yeah,
will
she will
see
be
in
so
her whole
scared.
life. The traumatic horror.
Gosh.
She went in there and she saw a mirror of herself in the water. She didn't even see.
God.
That's the only thing that she saw. Like
Fucking dumb
she
ass.
saw her reflection in the water. Yeah. Look,
Lying.
and then she saw like her future husband and her future kids, but nothing was terrifying. Like if that is considered scary, hell, I will go through that too.
Brave.
I was expecting a lot that wasn't delivered. The
Yeah.
author
Give us nothing.
Give us
Deliver
nothing.
nothing, queen.
Nothing, queen. Anyways, yeah, and then after that, when they have this big talk with God, then
Let me try to find the paragraph.
if they're the
Keep
same,
talking.
they were not the same. But you're saying we're not the same, but we are the same. I feel like the entire book is a build-up to no delivery. At the end, they didn't get each other and no one died. And he didn't even lose his memories. Like, he still remembers. So there's no point.
Oh, I found it.
You found it?
Wait.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the I don't know what the fuck she's saying. I think the God didn't even know what the fuck she was saying too, but he was just like, I don't want to hear this none of shit no more. Just shut the fuck up, go away. Okay, let me read. She says, when she's talking to God, I do not have the answer on how to maintain the balance under the laws of the heavens. I can only answer you like the child who lacks understanding of why such laws exist when we are all created uniquely and respond differently to life and its lessons. We're all unique in our own ways, so we too should be given the chance to be judged based on these uniqueness. Because if not, then doesn't that mean that we're all the same? And that is why we are governed by one law no matter which realm we're from? If so, doesn't that mean that YuShen and I are the same too and thus should not be punished in the name of being different? Isn't that the same as not having balance at all? I take a deep breath. Wait, God, wait, let me read this.
I have a whole
We are
essay.
made from the uniqueness of the world.
Okay. Mani, the way Mani is saying it and the way God is treating it and how everyone doesn't want them to be together, making them look like she's the only law keeper.
For real.
And he is
like, she's
the
not that
only
fucking
dragon
special.
prince. And if their union permits, then the whole world shatters.
I know, like, oh my God. She's not the only one in the whole world. She's the biggest YA, and this is the biggest fan fiction I've ever read.
Okay, how are we gonna end this?
Okay, anyways, guys, don't read the book. You'll be wasting your time unless you want to hate it.
And you'll be making another video like
Yeah, but
us.
anyways, there are some good aspects to it.
Mm-hmm.
But Moon still needs a lot of work if she expects her book to actually be good.
Yeah.
In this book.
She needs to... She needs to...
From the title to
change
the
her
book
title.
itself to the writing.
This book has potential to be fantasy, romance.
Yeah.
very
Not a fucking memoir.
very good potential to be fantasy romance, but not a memoir,
Also-
not realistic, not based on a true story.
Do not.
We're not saying that Moon is telling her readers to go find a dragon prince.
It's not.
Her book is not real, but she's coming it off as real.
It's just that she advertises it as a memoir when it's
Yeah.
not a memoir. So if you want this to be a fantasy romance, that's fine. But it's so misleading. Just choose a different title. Anyways, we'll wrap that up.
Okay, hello and welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed that video and were able to get some insight. Now I want to talk about the contents and the writing of the book. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the writing style. So I did enjoy Moon's writing style to a certain extent. It was very straightforward. And then I also want to mention that it is difficult to rate this book because it is good if it is good if you look at it in a perspective where it is in a different genre group, but it does not belong to that genre group. So if you look at it where it belongs to the memoir group, it's not, it's very, it clashes a lot. I really enjoyed the beginning and Moon's writing style in the beginning. The rest of the book just happened to clash with the genre rhetorically. Another thing that I want to talk about is the world building. So regarding the world building, I think that if you are familiar with Hmong mythology, it's very self-explanatory because it happens in the real world. It just focuses on Hmong culture and Hmong religion. But then if you aren't familiar with that, then it might seem a bit fantastical, a little bit different, but I think it is a little bit self-explanatory because Moon wrote it in a way where you can understand it well. It's just not in a way where you can see if it's truthful or not and see if it's credible, especially with the perspective changes. The cosmetology that Moon brings up about God and Hmong culture is not, from my knowledge, is not entirely correct. From what I know, Hmong wait, not cosmetology. Cosmology. So Hmong cosmology is similar to Chinese cosmology, where we believe in different gods. I forgot the word for it, like pantheism, Nian Gao Ga Ying, who I believe is the goddess of mercy, which Chinese cosmology has that as well. And I think like Du Sa, who is like the god of lightning, and then we also have like the king of heaven. It kind of confuses me when Moon mentions that she's talking to God, because we believe in multiple gods. So I'm wondering if she was talking to the king of heaven or if this part is just false, because I don't know. One, how is it possible that she was talking to God? And two, is this actually accurate in Hmong cosmology? Moving on to characterization. So for example, Mani, who is the main character of the book, who is Moon herself, because it's a memoir, I think she did a pretty decent job, like a pretty good job, making Mani seem like she's just like another girl who happened to fall victim. And I liked it because it's a memoir and it seems pretty believable. And even if it was not a memoir, I think I really liked that aspect of it. She turned the narrative at the end into making her into like a shaman, with the vibe that she is so important to the world because she's a shaman, and if she were to be with this dragon, like the whole world falls apart. Not only does it create a flaw in the world building, it also made me kind of confused by her character, because obviously she's not the only shaman in the world. So it makes me wonder if she is the only shaman in the world, which makes me wonder if this is supposed to be a memoir or if this is supposed to be a fantasy romance. She is introduced to us as a red-mouthed girl, so like someone who has no filter. But we honestly don't really see any of that. I think we see it like once or twice, but that was it. And I assume that Moon wants us to think that Mani's personality became more closed after her experience and her heartbreak with YuShen, and then like made like a character development where like boom, she is like a red-mouthed girl again and she's arguing with God. If this is what Moon was trying to execute, I don't think that it was executed well. It didn't exactly flow with the story, and it wasn't relevant to her character, and it wasn't shown in the correct ways. One thing that I do want to mention is that I did like her doppelganger. About Mai, so the creation of Mai in terms of fantasy romance is genius, narrated really well. In terms of the memoir is fairly accurate, so I think it was really well rounded. Honestly, I feel like I'm trying to explain it in like a fantasy romance review, but I keep forgetting that this is a memoir, so I'm very confused myself. But we're just gonna move on to YuShen. YuShen's character he was very complex. We didn't really know much about him in the beginning, which I can now see that Moon was trying to do on purpose. We genuinely did not know anything about him, but as we moved on, we did learn a little bit about him in terms of world building in fantasy romance, and in terms of credibility or just like realisticness, because I'm not entirely sure and I don't really know. Is he Hmong? Or is he... I don't know, and I'm gonna need someone to explain it to me. My question is, how was it that Moon cannot be with a dragon, or her guardian who she can be with is a dragon? Like, this makes me think that the story is fake. And then in terms of a fantasy romance, it's still confusing because she can't be with YuShen because he's a dragon, but she can be with Wujin, who is also a dragon. I did like his personality. I liked his character. He added a different type of vibe. He'd made the book a little less ominous. In terms of a fantasy romance, allows the reader to kind of gain trust in the narration and in the storyline again. In terms of a memoir, I don't know how to critique it. It's just, is that true? Yeah, and I also want to talk about the dialogue. So dialogue is a big part of characterization, and some of the characters are very weird because they sound like they're talking out of a textbook.
I do what I want when I'm wanting to. My soul, so cynical. So you're a tough guy, like it really rough guy, just can't get enough guy.
Like I said in the video. And we mostly see this coming from Money. Speaking is very different from writing. Like, people don't just bust out like vocabulary in like compound, complex sentences, every single sentence with very sophisticated like speech skills. You know what I'm talking about? And yeah, so it's just both an issue with characterization and writing, which I can see why people criticize her for not being a good writer. Moving on to content, I think that the plot itself was very explanatory. The storyline followed a nice pacing in terms of memoir and both. The beginning was pretty slow, but I honestly thought that it was fine. Like, it was well done. It was slow enough. There were a lot of things in the book that focused on fantasy romance, which would be fine if it was a fantasy romance book, but it was a memoir. So I do wonder, I don't know, stressing myself out. So overall, in terms of a memoir, I think that I would rate this book maybe like 2. Mind you, I'm rating it from my perspective right now because I read it a really long time ago. I would say I would rate the book a 2 out of 5 in terms of a memoir. But if I were to rate this book in terms of a fantasy romance, I think that I would rate the book a 2.5 or maybe even a 3, honestly. Even though there are really good things about it, those really good things reflect a fantasy romance. And it doesn't stick with the genre. It's mostly about the credibility and the genre of the book that makes it hard to rate. Anyways, that's basically the end of it, honestly. And I just want to conclude this and say that if you guys are shaman, or if you know shaman out there that are experienced in this phenomena with dragons and such entities, feel free to comment and let us know. Give a public review, shout out, whatever, because I would really like to learn more and see. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say. Thanks for watching. See you next time.